at a greater level of awareness, everything seems to be more connected. That's what the quantum is. So you're playing at that level. The synchronicities, the serendipities, the coincidences are actually informing you that you actually are creating your life. And that's the difference between being the victim of your life and being the creator of your life. Because when the environment is controlling the way we feel and the way we think, some person, some circumstance, some condition, what does that really mean? That means that person or circumstance is actually causing me to think and feel a certain way. And I don't think I have any control of it, then I must be victim to that circumstance, right? And that's a program, right?
Yeah.
So I realized in my own journey also that if I don't change my response to things in my life, I'll never change.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not that you respond. The question really is how long, right? So when you become aware that your environment is controlling how you think and feel, and your response changes, watch out, because now you no longer belong to the past. You actually belong to the future. So get a coherent heart. We know how to do that really well. Get a coherent brain. We can do that really well. Have people take all of their attention off the material world, off of everything known, go from a convergent focus to a divergent focus. We got the data to prove that if you keep putting your attention on nothing, on space, somehow the brain gets highly organized. So now, brain coherence, heart coherence, you synchronize your energy to whatever it is you want. And you got to sustain that state. You can't. We've had people that have healed themselves from Parkinson's disease, from cancers, from ALS, literally remission of the condition, and then have bad news. And in 1 hour driving to the hospital, all of their symptoms came back after being completely healed for 2 years. That's how strong those emotions are, right? So in your circumstance, right, I want people to have those moments where they have to literally choose, because I think when it's the hardest, it matters the most. Mm-hmm. That's what I think. So all those things where you're agitated with a person having their moment, that could be you having your moment, right? And you would want someone to just like that person doesn't want to do that. They're just having their thing, right?
But it was interrupting my thing.
Of course. By
the way, you can use those pillows on your back if you want to have a little lumbar.
But it's so essential, because when you realize actually that you have control over your thoughts, that means now that actually you have control over your brain. And most people, the brain has control over them when it's hardwired. You got to disentangle from those programs, and you need a little time. It takes energy, and it takes awareness, right? So the synchronicities that are the side effect of a change in energy, because I've been at this for a long time, and I can tell you that nobody changes until they change their energy. And when you change your energy, you change your life. It's just the way it goes. But having a very coherent brain and a coherent heart somehow puts that Wi-Fi signal out. And now those side effects where everything starts to make sense, then you don't want to change the past. You're not saying, oh, I'm this way because of you're saying, wow, all of that's leading to this, I this all makes sense. I had to go this way.
Yeah.
I've had so many people that had brutal pasts. I mean, horrible circumstances and abuse. The moment they had their moment and they finally broke through, they looked at their entire past and they realized they didn't want to change one thing in their past, because it brought them to this elegant moment of freedom. And she looked back at her betrayers. He looked back at his betrayers, and they had nothing but understanding and compassion for them. They didn't belong to the past anymore. They belonged to the future. They got out. So the side effect of that now is the synchronicities causing you to say, whatever I'm doing in here, whatever this is that I'm doing that's producing that out there, I'm not so interested in reacting or responding and defaulting back to the old self, because then I'd be the same energy, the same feelings, the same thoughts. My life would be the same. So now the big game is, okay, we're doing the meditations, but for what? To get so good at doing it with your eyes closed that you can do it with your eyes open.
Yeah, I've been doing that now.
then get ready, because your life will continue to change in favorable ways. And now here's the thing.
My energy was being drained today in a situation. I was getting my nails done and these two girls were having this very intense conversation. And I was like, you can meditate with your eyes open, Maria. And I looked outside and I just started doing it. I'm like, my new life. Yes. My other life, the things I want. I started like thinking of all those things and I came back fully energized.
Yeah. It takes a lot of energy to feel anger and agitation. In fact,
because that was one of the others. So sorry. That was the other big breakthrough. So I was doing the progressive in anticipation of the event, and I had another breakthrough. And my breakthrough was, so this is my energy for the day. And I was like, how am I using it? Anger, stress, fear, worry, annoyance, and then go back to all of it. And then I'm totally drained by 2:00. I need multiple coffees and I'm unhappy and I'm just on that kind of hamster wheel. So once that hit me, I go, oh my God, I can change this. The worry and the fear, none of it has served me really. I mean, in certain circumstances, okay. But for the most part, my husband and I still have the same situations. I chose to worry and fear and live in scarcity. He didn't. Guess who has more issues to deal with? Me. And we have the same thing. So I every day, this is what I think about. I think about my cup and how am I going to use it? Nice. I'm going to use it to create. I'm going to use it to be light. I'm going to use it to feel light. I'm going to create my life. And the things that happen, just like you said in your event, where people would manifest, something stupid like $1 million that week or whatever. I've already had those moments where I've asked for real stupid big things in my new life. And they're coming to me in ways that I would have never expected.
That's the unknown. If you can expect it, it's nothing new because you could predict it. That's the known. It has to come in a way that you can expect. It has to come in a way that you can't anticipate. It has to surprise you. It has to leave no doubt that what you're doing inside of you is producing that outcome outside of you. And when that outcome occurs, you pay attention to what you did and you do it with more intention, with more joy, more belief. And wow, then things start really changing in your life. And it has to come in that way that you can't predict. That's the fun part. The brain learns by mistakes and surprises. It's time for a few surprises.
But it's so powerful that this is even possible. And so even, for example, this morning, my husband had a colonoscopy. I had to get up. I had to take him. They wouldn't let me stay. It was down the street. I came home. I got back into bed and I was a little off. Things yesterday were a little things started to get to me, but I shifted. And I caught them. I was conscious of those moments, which was good. So at night, I asked myself, what could I do better? And how did it go? I did all of that. I did my meditation. And then, by the way, I do my pineal every night.
Wow, I'm impressed.
Every night, 1 to 4 a.m. And I wake up on my own. And I don't have to use alarms ever anymore. So for anything. But I got myself into bed and I said, okay, I can't do an official meditation right now, because I have to keep the phone on. They're going to call me. And I don't want to have a moment where I'm so deep and, whatever. So I'm going to do my own version right now. So I was envisioning my H's all the way up my energy centers as I breathed in, and then I breathed out illness. And I breathed in healing, and I breathed out illness. And I was doing different versions of that. And I got myself into such an unbelievable state that was so blissful that the phone rang. And I answered the phone, and I thought it was the woman calling me for my husband. And some of the words didn't match up, but I was still gone. I said, excuse me, could you repeat what you just said? And she said, the alarm went off in your building. Someone's broken in. Are you coming? This is ADT. I have a building in North Hollywood. And I said, no, I can't. I have to pick up my husband in a few minutes. And they said, okay, well, what would you like to do? I said, send the police. So I hang up with her. And I start thinking, okay, well, I could call this friend to go by there while I pick him up, and then we'll go down there. Fuck it. It'll be fine. And I went back into my meditation, and I said, there's nothing I can do right now. And whatever, I'd rather feel like this. And I'm not using my stress in my energy bottle. But that was my greatest test of all. Like, my greatest test of all, because safety and all of that has always been my number one issue. I went back in, and then I went and I picked him up because he texted me, and I said, hey, I think we might have to go by the building. He goes, oh no, it was one of our employees that was coming into town and she needed something. So it was a totally random thing. Nobody goes there right now. Mm-hmm. and I didn't even have to worry. And because I didn't worry, nothing bad had happened.
Well, better yet, you didn't worry and it didn't happen, right?
And I care so much more about my health and my healing right now than anything. I'm like, oh, those are just materials, whatever. They're insured. I can't get myself sick.
Yeah.
So I made a conscious choice to not let that drag me back into the holes of fear and worry and stress and anger and all of that.
That's a victory.
It was a huge victory.
It's a victory. And
Thank you, because I wouldn't have had it without you.
it's a great testament
My
to
husband might make out with you today, by the way, because he is like, who the fuck took my wife? Where is she? And who is this alien?
No, it's great though, because look, I mean, back to the idea of getting so good at it with your eyes closed that you can do it with your eyes open. You could have an hour of a blissful meditation, and you can spend the next 15 hours of your day freaked out and emotional and frustrated and angry and impatient and resentful. You're not going to heal. You're not going to heal. In fact, we have testimonies of people who said, God, I started doing my meditations, all my symptoms went away, but my values didn't change. Now, oh my God, what is the next thing that I have to change? Now listen, the conversation wasn't how come I'm not healing? Or the conversation is how do I heal? That was not the conversation. The conversation was, what do I need to change about myself in order to heal? And then she says, or he says, wow, I'm spending all of this time in my waking day feeling this way when I'm in my meditation feeling this way. Okay, now I got to practice with my eyes open. I got to stay conscious. And they start rehearsing how they're going to be in that circumstance so that they don't respond in the same way. This is level 101, but it's the basics, but it's the most profound because when that person started getting really good at catching herself and not responding the same way, her cancer, literally, the values, everything finally changed because she finally changed. And it's hard to go back.
Yes.